Okay, yeah, copper Steenbras is an endemic species to South Africa, and in fact is the biggest sea bream species in the world. And we do, in the Transkei, get quite a lot of them. And towards August and September, they come up from the deep into the shallow reefs up to like 50 meters to spawn. And that's a time that we really only get to catch them, probably June, July, August, September. And then obviously October it's a closed season because then they're really in full force coming into the shallows to spawn. Before that, you can catch them in the deep, sort of 100, 150 meters and deeper than that. But yeah, it's just very difficult with the strong currents and the rough sea conditions down there. In a place like the Transkei, it's quite easy to find live bait, and there's a lot of different places. In those sort of real bait spots in particular, wherever you get a lot of structure, there's so many bottom fish that often the live bait don't like to be there. But throughout the year, there's lots of pods of dolphins feeding on shoals of sardines, and quite often when you find those shoals of sards, which are scattered everywhere, you'll find the mackerel underneath them. So nice and early on the back line, it's always good to try. And then when it gets a bit lighter, look for the shoals of sards, go down through them. You can see on the lower end, see the showings under the shoals of sardines, and then you'll catch them. I'm going to show you here. Here's in fact one of our fresh mackerel that we didn't use. We don't like to waste them. Brought it all the way back from the Transkei to use for a king mackerel. So we still won't waste it. Nice and fresh. Look at that. Beautiful. What I'm going to do is we use a cable tie. And just that cavity just above the eyes, we slide the cable tie through. So I just clip the cable tie on the thicker part of it. Make a sharp edge, like that. And that'll allow it to slide through there easily. And then you take the hook, and you've got that little piece of dacron that you've molted onto it. Slide the cable tie through there. So there's the cable tie on that circle hook. Clip the end, and then you take the mackerel. Obviously this is a frozen one, you use a live one. See that little cavity just in front of his eyes? You slide the cable tie in there, and you see how easy it slides through? And then you just zip it up. Like that. And then all you do is you clip the tag end. And the nice thing about that, when you let your bait down 50 to 70 meters, the only way you're going to get that bait off that hook is if it really rips it hard off. You're not going to be guessing whether you got a bait on or not. You got them on all the time. And the bait stays nice and live until it gets eaten. And in the Transkei, if you get it to the bottom, it gets eaten. You never know by what, but there's lots of things to eat it. So yeah, nice, clear presentation. Hook's nice and free, nice and open, and obviously that circle hook ready to hook the fish in the corner of the mouth. Yeah, when you're looking for these fish in the Transkei, you don't need a big structure. It's quite a flat structure, a couple meters raise in the rock on the seafloor. And yeah, that's just enough to hold them, place for them to hide. And you can clearly see on the lower end, so you can see the structure, and then later on when you see the showing, you can clearly see the fish on the showing. And when you put a live bait down in front of a fish like that, he's not going to leave it alone. And once again, to remember, when you fight a fish like that, just take your time. You don't need heavy tackle. He's not going to cut you off. He's not going to strip you. Or he's going to try and strip you, but he won't. And just take your time, and then you bring it up slowly. Obviously, the slower you bring it up, the less barotrauma it suffers. And then once again at the top, take care of it, take a picture, and it can go free.
Perfect.
Yeah, if you look at our fish stretcher, it's very basic. It's 2 pieces of tubular aluminium, the stuff the guys make you use for your pool nets at home. You can buy it at the hardware store. 1.6 meters, 2 bits of tube, and then it's a bit of that 80% shade cloth, just stitched together with a bit of Dacron. Yeah, and you can fit a monster fish inside there, and literally, yeah, as big as you can catch, you can put it in there, and 2 or 3 guys can hold it, put it on the boat, and when you want to put it back, just put it back in the stretcher and put it back in. Very simple, easy to use, and very effective. Good for the fish, and also good for you. If you try to pick that big fish up like that, and you drop it on you with those big spines and all that, it's just drama. So yeah, good to be prepared and very easy to make. Yeah, when you're choosing a circle hook for a big bottom fish, we're only fishing with 40-pound whiplash, 40-pound braid, so you don't need to go too big. The biggest thing is to match the size of the hook with your bait. It doesn't matter if you go really small, that circle hook's going to find its way in. If you're going with heavy tackle and a small hook, though, you can have problems with it opening. But we were using an 8-0 and a 10-0, matched perfectly with a medium-sized mackerel. It lets it have nice, lively action. If you go too much bigger than that, obviously it's going to hinder the mackerel's action, and then it's less appealing when it's down there.
Well done, G. Really nice fish.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, really real big privilege to be able to catch these guys. Catch them with a circle hook, look after them, and put them back to where they belong. So get them back in the water.
Yeah.
Right, you can see there's a few different ways that you can bottom fish, and obviously a really popular way in South Africa is a KP. We've used them for years. We actually learned how to fish with them growing up, and that's all we used to use. But a spinning reel is also a really good option. If you know how to use it, it's just a slightly different technique, but the results are just as good. Obviously, Craig, he had a lot to say. He's only 20, bless his soul, but all he wanted to do was to catch a big fish on his KP. So we said, no, you must have a crack. Obviously, we've done it for years and years, but now I find the spinning reel with a lighter braid is much better than the current. So after Jiva landed a magnificent fish, decided over to Lighty, lots of energy, have a go, and he was down on the floor, got a bite, swatting flies, missed it, too excited, and then decided to wind his live bait up. And lo and behold, halfway up, a big yellowtail swam past and swallowed his live bait. And you can see the complications of using a KP when you hook something like a big yellowtail, probably in excess of 20 kilos. Things can get real quickly, and yeah, it took the entertainment to another level. It was lovely to watch. I'm sure it was pretty scary to hold on.
What is it? Oh, my light here, I'm tough, eh?
What happened there, bro? I'm reeling up.
Yellowtail, but
You reckon yellowtail?
you got a lesson from a Maliako.
That's a weapon, that thing.
Get a pen clash and enjoy the ride, or get a KP and get a gelapt.
Once the Lighty had to go and put his hands in the cooler box and cool his jets and regather himself, I decided to have another quick down with that little pen clash. Current had picked up a bit, so put another live bait down, and yeah, got that drift just right, saw the showings on the low ends, and once again those big head nods, tightened up, hold on, circle hook did its thing, and yeah, hooked into another magnificent fish.
Perfect.
some pretty testing conditions. We had wind over tide, we had rain. Yeah, and once you hook up with those fish, just keep one motor in gear, kind of keep on top of it. Just take your time and fight it slowly. This particular fish, after about 15 minutes or so, it had equalized the whole way up, and it was really sporty and still trying to swim back down from the bottom. So it just shows you that if you really do take your time and take it easy, it's so much better for the fish, so much more lively. Once again, the copper Steenbras it's a really special species. I really love the fish. They are only found in South Africa, so they're endemic to our country. And once again, the Transkei is a really special place to catch them. You do get them right up the south coast, even up the north coast here in South Africa. But yeah, when targeting them, we would encourage everyone to actually release all of them. Yeah, there's no point in keeping a fish like that. It's so beautiful, it's so old, and it's the only place in the world you find it. So we better look after them. So we can all have the privilege of catching them for years to come.
There we go, there's a really beautiful fish, probably 12, 15 kilos, and we're going to pop it back in the water, so awesome stuff. Right, there's a beautiful little copper, all there in the water.